All right, welcome to this webinar information session on the Master of Science and Technology programs for Walsh College. My name is Dave Skippers, and I'm going to go ahead and get this information session started. Now, to start with, we would respectfully ask that everybody hold questions until we get to the Q&A portion of this presentation. At that time, we'll give you a couple of different options on how you want to or how you can engage with questions and garner additional information about what we're going to present today. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. All right, first up, let's talk a little bit about our Information Technology Decision Sciences department. That is the department that these particular programs are housed within. So our ITDS, and of course, you know, with technology people, we love our acronyms, right? So Information Technology Decision Sciences, or ITDS, our department brings what has become to be known as a reputation for hands-on and practical learning to cybersecurity, IT, and quantitative methods. So over the course of the last few years, we have, I'll say, embraced industry recommendations and student requests. And for the technical degree programs, we are actually doing a lot more hands-on, and we are combining that hands-on theory, or hands-on skills, I should say, with theory to create what we're calling tradecraft, which we'll talk about that a little bit more further into this webinar. Now, our faculty that we have within ITDS, literally, they bring hundreds of years of experience. So I like to stress that definitely our adjuncts, they still work in industry, which is in their subject matter experts, which is why we bring them in to help teach this material and these skills. Additionally, I would like to call out that all of our full-time faculty, which we'll see each of those here in a couple few slides, they're all non-traditional academics. So what do I mean by that? Traditional academics usually go through, they get their bachelor's, then they get their master's. They move on to doctoral work, and then they start teaching. They may or may not consult, but they don't necessarily have, you know, I'll say, careers to be able to relate those skills in theories and concepts in the classroom too. So all of our full-time faculty have gone out, they have had successful careers in local, regional, national, or international organizations. We have experience across the spectrum with private, public, government, and educational organizations as well. So we have a very diverse group of individuals with diverse experiences that we can relate into the classroom for you to better comprehend the material that we're providing for you. So many of our programs, in fact, all of our programs, but our technology programs do focus specifically on critical thinking and problem solving, so as well as analytics. And this is pretty important, especially within STEM industries. The ability to resolve problems that have never been seen before is pretty typical. I'll say contrary to popular belief, not everything on the internet is true, and not everything is on the internet. So there's a lot of skills and knowledge and wisdom that come from experience, and those things may or may not be available to be looked up. So we basically help people, I'll say, work through skill building in critical thinking and problem solving. So we focus on that specifically. Now, additionally, to give you an example of what the ITDS department is known for, we also were the first NSA Center of Academic Excellence in Michigan. And so that really kind of helped hallmark our technology education that was associated with cybersecurity. And that really kind of, you know, set us apart from a lot of our competitors. The other thing is we're the first national program. There's a lot of different schools and universities that have auto cybersecurity classes. We actually have a program in that, and we were the first And we paired with industry to build a program that would be impactful. And that one is also built with a lot of hands-on tradecraft development as well. So and we're particularly proud of our history, and we bring that all of that history and know-how and vision to the courses that you would be in if you choose to be within this, within one of the programs we're going to show you today. And as I've mentioned, we align our skills and abilities to build tradecraft. And, so how do we know how to do this? Part of this is, frankly, I can speak from personal experience that when I was in industry still and I was looking to hire college graduates, there was sometimes a long learning curve in understanding how enterprise thinking is different, understanding, some of the technology implications and getting the correct enterprise skills for to be effective for when you're in the actual industry. With that said, as we've redesigned and built these programs, we've focused on trying to reduce that transition time for graduates. We really want to get your mindset correct. We do this through a couple of ways. Our experience as professionals, so we build programs, but we also, so in addition to that, we also use advisory boards and we take student input on what are you looking for when you're trying to get hired. And from an employer perspective, our advisory board members provide us what are the gaps in the educational degree programs that are out there today that we can help fulfill. So we take all of those things to make sure that we are delivering a degree that helps you launch your career path quicker. So our intent is that you are impactful people with good, solid trade crafts so that you can be impactful when you walk in the door. There's still going to be transition no matter what organization you go to, but we do focus on the skills and abilities to be successful in your career path. All right, so let's talk for a minute about the actual faculty. So again, my name is Dave Skippers. I am the chair for the department, which basically means that, I lead the group as well as I do teach. My particular subject matter expertise is automotive cybersecurity and cybersecurity. Those are the particular coursework that you would run into me with, both at grad and undergrad. Christopher Hayden, our Professor Hayden, is our subject matter expert for data analytics and data science. He in particular also has a good track record in the, I'll say in the analytics space in large companies, in fact global as a matter of fact. So a lot of history there that he brings to the classroom, and he does that predominantly at the graduate level. So if you run into or you choose the MSIT degree program, you would definitely run into Professor Hayden. Professor Kadabai is also a data analytics subject matter expert, and he has a number of years teaching in analytics and statistics. And don't freak out when I say statistics. So we focus on business statistics, so application. It's application focused. How can you use it on the job? That's really where we're always rooted. And Professor Kadabai is very versed in that and has a long history with that experience with it at some global organizations. So Professor Patz has been in startups. He's been in a number of different industries, and he is our subject matter expert. He teaches predominantly at the undergrad level, and he is our subject matter expert, in programming. He also knows a lot of IT, much as I do. So if you end up, and this is for a graduate program that we're talking about here, but if you may run into him into some programming classes, because sometimes he does cover at the graduate level. Dr. Richards is our subject matter expert for IT leadership and project management, brings a rich history of dealing with global teams, and different organizations, and I'll say traversing the trials and tribulations of project teams in IT for, I believe, the medical industry. So she's got a rich history there as well. She teaches predominantly at the graduate level, and we'll hear from her shortly. We also have a number of adjunct faculty members. These, as I mentioned in an earlier slide, these individuals, They continue to work in the industry. We bring them in as SMEs or subject matter experts to teach in the areas that they know well. And we rely on them as well to make sure that we have a good, constant feedback loop from industry members on, how we're doing, how our tradecraft applies, and things like that. And again, a wide array of global, local, regional, etc. industries and organizations. So definitely a very strong group. And I think everybody complements each other really well with all the diverse backgrounds and views that they are bringing from their work history. So let's go ahead and to start, let's move into discussing the Master of Science in Information Technology program, which is also, again, we love our acronyms, right? So MSIT, and we're going to go ahead and get started with that. This particular program, this one is focused on providing very specific skills and knowledge so that you can go out in the industry and be impactful. One of the things that when I was still in industry, that when we hired graduates or new graduates, that was a problem is that training time frame. That training time frame, the actual, I'll say, higher ed degree programs weren't necessarily delivering all the skills that we needed. And we would have to train for long periods of time. So what we have done is we've designed our programs to reduce that training to a smaller, there will always be training needed, right? You have to acclimate to how the organization works, that's typical, but you really should have your core skills built when you come in. So that was some of the stuff that when we redesigned these programs, we focused on how do we prepare graduates to be ready to hit the ground running, okay? So some of what we do, okay, is you can apply critical, strategic, and ethical and innovative thinking, right? In a very structured and specific way. Balance continuity with change evaluation, right? So that you can implement within IT. And here, a big win, especially in today's environment, critical security and risk management strategies, right? Appraise professional work ethic, both of yourself and others, and do that with integrity, and deliver clear and concise communications. Yes, it is a technology degree, and communicating effectively is extremely important within that. This degree program is more technical, all right? So if you're looking for, I want to know how to do this work. I want to see how does that happen, and we'll get into how do we build that. Next up here, I want to cover some of the accolades we've gotten. We've gotten a top schools with information technology. We've gotten a best masters in cybersecurity, and we've also got best, or one of the online best for masters in network security. I want to highlight to the very first one on the far left. This particular one ranked us number 2 nationally, all right? So we have instilled and changed our program very differently. Obviously, we're very happy that we're getting recognition for what we're doing. We're just trying to do the right thing. That's ultimately what we're doing. And it's nice to have these things come in, but this does speak to, what we've done, where we're going, what direction we're headed. We're also F1 DHS STEM designated program. So for international students, they'll know exactly how does this apply for them. If you're not international, you can kind of just forget that. And again, we are a center of academic excellence, right? So we talked about that briefly. We continue to maintain that. Additionally, we have a cyber lab. So we use that cyber lab to actually build what we're calling is tradecraft. So we combine academic rigor with dozens of hours of hands-on labs, all right? These things are faculty led, and we make sure we're building skills for you that match up with industry, as we mentioned, all right? You also get to work on enterprise level equipment in enterprise level environments. I cannot talk about how impactful this is. This is definitely one of the big things that we struggled with when I was in industry hiring, is getting people to understand how and why enterprise level works differently. We take you through that in the Cyber Lab. Now this can be delivered on site, as you see a physical picture of that lab in front of you, or you can get that remotely as well. So, because we do deliver this program either fully online or remote. All right, so what curriculum do we give you? What classes? Okay, first up, foundation classes, okay? These ones are designed for people who have no background or no bachelor's degree in an IT field. This gets you on par with everybody else coming in. So if you already got basically a bachelor's in some version of IT, you're probably going to get waived out of these foundation courses, right? But first up, so we take you through systems analysis, right? We get you into how to deal with and work with databases, understanding the network, understanding operating systems and virtualization, right? As well as we get you into programming. A lot of places expect programming background, so this is critical, right? Now, once you're in core courses, governance, risk, and compliance, this is kind of where some of the magic happens, right? How do I align people and resources to accomplish our goals? Next up, we expand our programming. We get everybody's going to bump into project management in industry, so we have to have you up to speed on that, as well as cyber. The capstone in particular, I would call out. Capstone actually enables you to wrap up your degree, work on a customized project, be that research or hands-on project where you do something or make something, all right, and highlight your knowledge and help build a portfolio for potential or prospective employers to look at. Next up, what concentrations do we have? You have 2 to choose from. So again, remember, this is a technical degree program. First up, cybersecurity. So 510, how do I defend, right? So how do I set up defensible strategies on enterprise assets? We teach you how to do that, the core functions of that. 511, threats, vulnerabilities, controls, and countermeasures. How do you red team? How do attackers attack you? We teach you that to be a better defender. We also have you attack and defend against other student teams. This amplifies your skills. This is a rare class. Not all institutions are doing this, okay? Not to boast too much, but this is impactful. It's difficult for us to run this, but it is very impactful for your learning, right? Intelligence. So intelligence, we do a lot with intelligence in cyber. And you have to understand how to build intelligence programs and garner it and gain it for your advantage. Digital forensics. So how do we do digital investigations? We take you through the core competencies within this. Cryptography. Sounds boring. It's not. It's actually kind of difficult. And most of our modern secure technology is built on cryptography. So we take you through core comprehension with, again, hands-on labs to learn how to do this. Next up, cyber physical systems. Our world in cybersecurity is changing. A standard cybersecurity degree will not be enough. It will not be, okay? You have to understand how operational technology impacts the enterprise. We are at that point. Most degree programs don't address this. We are adding, we do have it here, and it does add on top of your core competencies within cyber. Data science. So data science is a new field, lots of demand. How do I take the data that we have and gain new insights, solve problems, learn new things, right? These are all pieces of data science. This is also very technical. We get into SQL and dimensional data analytics. So big data, what is big data? Where does data come from? What can we do with it? What are opportunities here? Data visualizations and predictive modeling. So human beings assimilate data differently visually than they do in a standard format. What do I mean by that? You look at data in an Excel spreadsheet, you could learn things. It takes longer. If I see that on a map or I see that visually, that's why graphs and charts are so impactful. I can see it. I can make decisions way quicker, right? Because I'm visually stimulated and it's visually absorbed differently, right? Programming for data analysis, that's exactly what that is. Which we enhance your programming in that particular data and analysis, data science arena. There is a statistics class, business analytics, but it is business focused. So it is not solely theory. It is wrapped around a concept of making sure you understand statistics to solve problems. All right, so what does this degree program enable you to do? First up, solve technology problems and create strategies to do that. Root cause analysis. I cannot stress this enough. And how to draw conclusions from those. This is an art and science in and of itself. We take you through the critical thinking to do that. Cybersecurity, how to integrate that and address it. Best practices and standards for security implementations. Definitely a delivery here for you, all right? We focus on work ethic and integrity and to achieve goals. This is giant within our IT field. We get trusted with a lot of privileged data and access when we have to treat that appropriately. And again, solve problems. So how do we do that? What are the ways to do that? How do you make that happen? And again, deliver clear and concise communications. These are all core competencies within this degree program and what they enable you to do. Now, what are the admission requirements for MSIT? If you're already certified, all right, with one of these certifications, you'll get advanced standing, which means courses are waived, right? It reduces your time to graduation. However, I will say that everybody must hold an undergraduate, so a bachelor's degree, from an accredited institution. You need to have an appropriate GPA as listed, okay? And then we do also recommend, not required, but we do recommend you have 2 years of professional work experience to get yourselves ready and to move forward. Additionally, we do not require a GMAT or GRE. Those are not required for us. What I'll say is it's a little bit easier for admission. Our expectations are definitely there though, okay? So you have to meet the expectations, deliver the skills, up your game, and then we get you ready for graduation, right? So hopefully I'll say this has been somewhat interesting. With that said, it is time for me to turn it over to Dr. Richards. She is going to be covering the Master of Science in Information Technology, and with that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Richards.
Thank you, Dave. This is Dr. Terry Richards of the ITDS department, and I want to speak with you for a moment about the Master of Science in Information Technology Leadership. The MSITL leadership degree prepares you for high-level positions within an IT department. IT leadership positions are the most senior executive positions within an enterprise. They are the people who work with information technology and computer systems in order to support enterprise goals, and they are the highest level of executive. And what it means to be an IT leader today is really different from what it was 20 or even 10 years ago. And that's because of the fast pace of change. The traditional way of managing IT initiatives is transformed from the model of leaders handing out the work and making of all the decisions for the organization into a workplace that's more empowered, where the workers make their own decisions, and in some cases, they make their own schedules. They run their own projects. In other words, they're more autonomous than they used to be, and IT leadership needs to adapt. So, really quickly, what are some of the leadership positions in IT today, the executive leadership positions? Let's talk about a few. The CIO is probably the most commonly known, Chief Information Officer, who's responsible for the day-to-day functioning of the entire IT infrastructure, the operations of the infrastructure. Some organizations also have a Chief Technology Officer, or CTO, who is it's a position that's tasked with looking forward at emerging and trending technologies, trying to determine what should be adopted or considered or perhaps added to the organization's product line. They help with strategic planning and marketplace positioning. Now, the Chief Security Officer, or CSO, is the highest level executive who oversees the entire protection of the technology infrastructure. Then some organizations also have Chief Knowledge Officers, CKOs, not always, but sometimes, and those are the individuals who are the executives that get the organization's information into the hands of the right people, or what we call knowledge workers, and helps to organize, preserve, and distribute the knowledge or the organization's intellectual capital. And finally, a newer one now is a CDO, or Chief Digital Officer, someone who helps transform the organization into a more digital organization from what it was, along with overseeing things like the capture and distribution of big data, as Dr. Skippers mentioned a few slides back. So, what are some of the skills and abilities you need to develop and you will learn in the MSITL degree? You're going to learn to strategize with emerging technology in order to accomplish the goals of the business. You're going to help plan and develop organizational systems that can offer a competitive advantage to the firm over other, perhaps, competitors in the organization. You'll learn to navigate businesses and corporations around and through risks in IT, and you'll learn to be a confident leader. You'll need to help identify, integrate, and take advantage of emerging trends. As I mentioned, that the CTO is usually tasked with that. And you will also learn to analyze data that is captured by the organization for making decisions for the business, keeping IT in mind from an IT perspective. Now, there aren't many areas that evolve as quickly as IT does, so you're going to have to deal with the rate and pace of change, the complexity and massive integration of systems, processes, and applications, which often result in or can result in possible outages and instability issues. So the courses we've selected will help you with those. As Dr. Skippers mentioned earlier, there are foundation courses, as you can see here, and there are core courses. So for the Master of Science in IT Leadership, the core courses are Leadership Communication, Leadership for IT Professionals, a class on Governance, Risk, and Compliance, another one on IT Leadership and Strategy, a course on Project Management Fundamentals, and finally a Business Analytics course, which will further look into how we use data for trend analysis, predictions, and problem solving, and many, many other uses. The MSITL course listings for concentrations are, and you only have to select one, but they're each comprised of 4 courses. You can get a concentration in executive leadership, which consists of the 4 courses shown there: cybersecurity, security program management, business continuity, resilience, and crisis management, and network and enterprise architecture. And as you can see, those are very high, broad, all-encompassing areas or focuses. So they're teaching you to be an executive leader in IT and how to protect and manage and preserve the IT infrastructure and all the capital. The other option is a global project and program management with the organizations so increasingly going global nowadays, and the outsourcing and offshoring and globalization. Many organizations are really taking advantage of distributed teams or geographically distributed skill sets even, and round the clock or follow the sun operations and virtual teams. And there is some courses here that will help you achieve competency in those areas, including project, program, and portfolio management, followed by product, program, and portfolio management, agile project management, and finally, global project leadership. Now, Walsh does offer a dual MBA MSITL degree, and you can see the courses there. I won't read through all of them, but do note in the middle there that you need to take IT 505 Governance, Risk, and Compliance, IT 520, which is Information Technology, Project Management Fundamentals, and then finally at the bottom there, Business Analytics once again. The course listings for the concentrations are the same as what you saw on the MSITL degree, and they're really focusing on or helping you understand that IT leadership faces constant pressures to cut costs year after year, despite having to meet all sorts of increased demands on their business from their business leadership to innovate. And there's only so many ways you can slice the pie. So the dual MBA MSITL will help you understand and address budgetary decisions and risk management, security again, project and IT governance, and notice there'll also be a focus on key soft skills such as critical thinking, decision making, communication, strategic alignment, project and program management, and so on. So let's summarize some of the skills and abilities that you will gain with a Walsh MSITL or dual MBA MSITL degree. You will learn, very high on the list here, and I should have brought it up earlier, you will learn to work and to encourage ethical and integrity behavior from your employees and your fellow workers, as well as yourself. You'll need to be able to deliver clear and concise communications that can take complex information and distill it down to where it can be understood by others in the organization. You will also build personal growth, improve your networking, negotiation, and persuasion skills, which are key in a high executive position. You'll be able to evaluate and rank the need for projects and portfolios and align them with the organization's strategies and vision statements and organizational priorities. And you will develop strategies to manage IT change and innovation through research, analysis, and evaluation of the technical landscape. So let me turn it back over to Dr. Skippers now, and he was going to cover a couple last slides, and then we'll take some questions.
All right, we're going to quick wrap up. So as a refresher, the admission requirements for MSITL are pretty much the same as MSIT. So if you're already certified in any of these certifications, again, you can get advanced standing as well as for MSIT as MSITL. And the program applicants are the same. Those requirements do hold true. And I'm not going to beleaguer the conversation. We're going to kind of go through them quickly. Of course, if you have questions again at the end, we'd be more than happy to answer those. Now, some other key highlights that we'd like to point out. So Walsh is a community college. So we have a lot of students who don't stay on campus. We don't have traditional dorms. So students who are looking to, they work potentially full-time, they commute, they want to connect remotely, or they want to do online, we're a good fit. Some people are concerned with, hey, you know what, how do we get more of a typical, I'll say, college experience? What are the benefits to Walsh? What are some of the differences? And so with that in mind, I'd like to highlight one particular item, which is lifetime career services. So once you become a Walsh alum, you have access to our career services department for a lifetime. So what does that mean? I've seen a number of students over the years who have previously finished a degree. They go out, they have a career going. I can say especially right now, we have COVID-19 going and there's a lot of, I'll say, instability. People are looking for new jobs in some cases or having to look for new jobs. Career services, we connect with potential employers. They come to Walsh a lot. They're looking for the caliber of students that are coming through our institution. So at any point, you can come back, you can use the Walsh job boards. One of the other things is, hey, I want to spruce up my resume. I'd like to polish back up my interviewing skills. Career Services is here to help you do that. I've worked with different universities and colleges. I would say Walsh's Career Services has a much larger impact than most others. So I would say if you're looking for, that transition from degree to career is really important. Also, ITDS partners with Career Services, and we actually, co-host events to help connect students to potential employers. These are just some of the examples of the career services at Walsh and how it's different and how it's more impactful. Another particular item that we have as well is the Walsh Information Technology Student Association, also known as ITSA, right? We love acronyms in IT, right? So with that in mind, so this gives you some additional opportunities. We have potential employers do events. They reach out to ITSA. We have guest speakers come in. As I mentioned, we pair with career services. We have special events, things that may not necessarily, we've had things like assembling a 3D printer, learning to print, there's discussions of other items as far as training that students are looking for. The interesting thing here is I would call out the students drive what's offered, not the faculty. So this is actually student led. So it offers some great opportunities as well. If you're concerned about the location and you want to know where we're at, how we're connected, so we are located, our primary campus is located in Troy. We have satellite campuses at a number of community colleges. And so we are very close to Detroit proper. Troy is a thriving business center, has a number of automotive and financial sectors with corporate and global headquarters here. So we have, we have some interesting connections, and interesting employers reach out to us looking for mature graduates to help staff their organizations. We also are, located centrally to the suburbs. We do have some connections with GVSC, formerly known as TARDAC. We've done research with them, as well as different groups such as like Automation Alley, etc. So we have, we kind of have our tendrils in multiple places. But if you're concerned about what are the employers coming into us, so it is, Greater Detroit in Southeast Michigan are those that are reaching out to us looking for graduates. Here's some other information to consider about Walsh that's maybe a little different than what you're used to. So instead of trimesters or 3 semesters, we actually have 4 11-week semesters. So that actually reduces your time to degree completion. So every year you're getting an additional semester in if you so choose to leverage that. One of the other things that we do is we have roughly a max class size of about 25. So you're not in giant lecture halls with 200 people and you have limited access to an instructor or a professor. With the smaller class size, you get more attention, you get more opportunity to interact with the subject matter experts that are teaching the classes and helping you build skills. At the time of recording here, our cost per credit hour here is $850. And that is the 2020 and 2021 tuition rate. From a books and supplies perspective, obviously this is going to vary by course. I'll say within IT, we try to keep the number of books smaller, and a lot of these are associated not as traditional textbooks. These are actually either certification guides or skill guides that we leverage, all right? One of the other big pluses that I don't know that everybody understands is that in some institutions of higher ed, you actually have to pay for tutors or you have to pay for access to labs. You get tutoring and you get open labs are available for free, and that is if you need extra assistance or you would like extra assistance. So those are definitely, I would say, some good pluses that Walsh brings to the table without, adding in additional costs for you. So let's recap why you should consider, or why you might want to consider one of Walsh's IT programs. So first up, real world training. Okay, so we are about aligning you and getting you ready for your career. We have received a top 20. So we were actually ranked number 2 of online masters in information technology. We were also awarded a top or best honor in cybersecurity, as well as a best online masters in network security. The faculty here are working professionals. Definitely the adjuncts are still. Those of us who are full-time faculty, we are continuing to do research, or we are continuing to do contracting. I myself hold a license with the state of Michigan for 4 investigations. So I continue to do that and contract out to stay fresh. Additionally, the courses are flexible, so you can take them entirely online. Or, some students are like, I don't like online by itself. Some courses, yes, some courses, no. If that's your perspective and you're saying, hey, wait, sometimes I want to interact directly with a professor. I want to get some questions and I want to have that, face-to-face so as to speak, we can do that. We do remote, so much like we're doing this webinar now. Obviously, within courses, it's slightly different in that, you know, as an instructor, you would see us on a camera, we would do our lecture, or we would take you through the exercises, and then you could respond back real time. Okay, so that would be a synchronous communication online, but at the same time, even if you're not in Detroit, you can be in Sault Ste. Marie, or you can be in Tampa, Florida, and you can still take these classes, right? We have a cyber lab, as I mentioned in the previous slide, that is available to you online. So we actually have the ability for you to log on and get into that cyber lab remotely through a browser, or you can access it directly on site. We focus on tradecraft, in particular technology tradecraft. So we combine academic rigor with hands-on skills, okay? So this is where we feel we are very different than what you're seeing out there in the vast majority of the cybersecurity courses in programs. And then even within our ITL, which is focused on leadership, we are teaching leadership in different ways and through face-to-face, be that via Zoom or in a classroom, exercises that help you grow into a leadership approach and mindset, right? We have easy admission, not early, but easier admission requirements, and we have no GMAT, so GMAT, sorry, I say GMAT sometimes, but GMAT or GRE, not required. Why complicate the process? Again, lifetime career services, and you have access to a student association if you so choose to utilize that. And we are located in Southeast Michigan, so Greater Detroit. So we are, you know, we have a number of different industries here that are looking for people. Many of them have global ties. All right, so that wraps up, I'll say, the presentation portion. This is my contact information on screen for you now. What we're going to do now is we're going to actually flip over, and it is time for questions. So there's a couple of different ways we can do this. You can either type them in the chat, or if you want, within I'll say within Zoom, you have the ability to raise your hand, and then we can actually open it up for direct verbal questions.